Hello, welcome back to IT Landy, Azure B2C. Today's session is about integration of our application with B2C. Previously, we covered different topics from password reset, customization, core, advanced, and so on. For today, it's about integration. What do we need to do? Comparing external identity, Azure B2C is designed for consumers and citizen-facing mobile and web application, business to employee, or business to consumer or business to business. These are some of the examples, and we can see how that work. Like a surface to surface flow is made possible through auth 2, described later after that. Something to consider, I need to provide, and I am similar to deploying, targeting, accessing, business, whatever distributor, supplier, and this is an example for you, yeah, to show you what Azure AD B2C can utilize for, So let's move on to the next slide. B2E versus B2B and B2C. Business to employee, business to business, business to consumer. Just in case if you're not familiar with these terminologies. You can see how that interact between users, B2B invite, Azure AD, provide information, subscribe, load, interact. So these are some of the examples how they interact. We will cover this in more details at later on, but it just show you some of the examples around, the interaction and either through application, mobile app, or web-based. Next, we will move on to how we can interact with these. So we're going to cover auth 2. What is auth 2? Auth 2 is a delegated authorization to APIs. Main purpose is to get the client an access token preceded by auth 1. RFC published April 2010. Required message signature, which made it complex. Auth 2 sought simplicity, remove the need for signatures, dependency on communication and security. This is basically what auth 2 to get us a token. The client types. Client application access, a service on behalf of a user. We have two types of application. Public, private. Public, run locally on a device, not trusted to hold secrets. Private, runs behind the firewall, can be trusted with secrets. Okay, so these different types. Let's have a look what they mean. John Smith, he got an application, got client, resource, getting data for John, authorizing from a server, and he is the resource owner, getting a token. After obtaining the token, then you will be authorized to view it, something like this. The flow of that, define the process of obtaining the access token. There are four flows defined in the spec: authorization code, client credentials, resource password, and the implicit. What do they mean by each one of these? One-time code issued to a client. Client redeem the code to access token. Client credentials to validate the user, then receive the token itself. Then you can utilize it with the resource owner password, collect user information, exchange the user username and password with for access token. And the last part is client is untrusted because it's a public. So there is no refresh token, which means token will expire. However, the authorization code flow, the concept, client get authorization code first, client use the code to redeem the access token. Yeah, based for private client web application, private client establish secret with auth server. The secret is used to authenticate the client during the access token redemption. So the redemption of that one will be by refreshing the token. Access token expired. Refresh token can be stored longer, like 7 days or 14 days, whereas the access token is 1 hour, or it could be 24-hour max. Use a refresh token to redeem a new access token. Supported in ADFS and Azure AD from 2012 onward. And you can see the vNext public and private client and Azure AD support basically both. Let's have a look on how this will basically look like for us. The authorization code flow. John, number one, browse to the application, getting challenged, getting the auth, username, password, getting exchange for access token, step number four. Then five, go back, say, okay, here I am, username, password, please can I have my token? Six, you get the token. You go back to the API, you validate. Let's repeat. John log on to the library web application and chooses to show his currently checked out box. Library app redirect John to get authorized. John authenticate and grant consent. Auth2 server redirect John back to the library to get authorization code. Library application request token book. Auth2 server retain the access token and then library will allow you in. The client credential flow summary. The concept. App authenticate, not user authorization. App establish secret. App authentication and will authenticate with a secret received with a token. User is not involved in this process basically. Client can perform this flow out of band. Something like that. John uses client address book. Client authenticate to auth server. Auth server provide access token to client. Client core resource. So you can see one, two to Azure AD, three, here's your token, four, graph to provide you with it. Resource owner password flow summary, exchange user credential for access token. Access token used for by app for API, primarily for the first party application security concern and refresh token of the application. Resource owner flow, something like that. Uh, Resource owner give credential, client use credential, authentication, authorization server will validate the owner and retain the token. The summary of the implicit summary used for client that cannot keep secret, like SPA pages, no refresh token is returned, security implicity relies on transport layer for security, something like that. Client redirect resource owner to authorization server, resource owner authenticate and grant consent, authorization server redirect resource to owner with a URI fragment, and then the server component basically retains secret that extract the token from the URL, like Node.js, Java components, all they do the same thing here. SPA, single web page. Overall, comparing Azure AD auth flow by service type, Azure AD B2E, B2C, business to employee, business to consumer. Public client, they both support it. Confidential client, the business to employee support, but not business to consumer because we control it via Azure AD. Authorization code flow, both client credential, both resource owner, client credential flow only B2E, not B2C. Same thing with the owner flow and same thing with the implicit flow. You've noticed business to employee because I have username password sitting within Azure AD, which we can utilize to get the server challenge and authenticate it. I know it's too much to digest, but hopefully that's all what we have for you for today. And I shall see you at the next session. Goodbye for now.